You're all here for the International Internship and Service Program, I assume. You see it up there. Great. So I just want to first get to know a little bit about who's in the room. So how many of you are freshmen? Great. How many of you are sophomores? Any juniors? Any seniors? Good, because this is not for you. No, so you're all in the right place. How many of you have been abroad before? Almost all of you. Great. Well, guess what? The thing about MIISP is that even if you've never been abroad before, if you've been abroad a million times, this is a program that benefits everyone, and you're all in the right place, and we're going to work to and we can work to sort of try to find the right program for you. So first, I think, if you just want to go to the next slide, June. We're just going to introduce who we are. So this is me, Audrey Buswell. I'm the Education Abroad Coordinator in the International Center. For those of you who don't know what the International Center is yet, we do a lot of different things, but our portion of it is that we provide a full range of advising services for study, work, and travel opportunities for Michigan programs and non-Michigan programs, which sort of ties into what the heart of what this program is. Go ahead.
My name is Emma Saraf. I'm a senior here at the university, and I also work at the International Center as a peer advisor.
My name is Loma Lutzai. I am in the School of Social Work here in my master's program, and I am a peer advisor also.
And we also have the assistant director, Bill Nolting, and we do have a stray peer advisor here, stuck pushing buttons. So, June Lee is his name. So just to give you a sense of what we're going to cover tonight, you know, it can be confusing. What is MIISP? So we'll talk a little bit about what it is. Eligibility, some expectations, benefits, because there are a few, and application process, and important dates, frequently asked questions, all of that kind of stuff. And then we'll give some time for participants who've been on this program before to talk about, you know, why they did it, how it helps them, and then their actual experiences abroad. And then we'll open it up to any questions that you might have. So what is MIISP? For those of you who've been here before, how many of you have heard of this for the first time within the last couple of weeks? Raise your hand. Almost everyone. Great. So this is, you know, it's sort of a confusing thing, but this is a program that's really provides students with resources and support for finding and possibly funding an internship or service opportunity abroad. So what does that mean? You know, we will sit down with you and do some serious one-on-one advising, as well as some workshop opportunities that are available for you. And we'll sit and listen to what you're really interested in. Maybe you don't know at this point. Maybe you have no idea where you want to go, or what kind of an internship you want to do, or if you want to do a volunteer or service program. Maybe you don't know yet. So we'll sit down and try to figure out what kind of things are you interested in. Let's figure out some of the things that you're good at, some qualities, and then look and try to identify and present some options for you. So we'll sit down and do that for you, and we'll provide some options and resources. And then funding sources. And the nice thing about going on the MIISP program is that, or participating in it, is that when you're on this program, you are considered a Michigan program. So that opens up lots of funding opportunities for you. It's not widely known that Michigan has a ton of funding opportunities, particularly for summer opportunities, for summer internships and service programs. There are a ton. But you know, if you're going on a non-Michigan program, that's where it gets a little tricky. But if you're going on a Michigan program, there actually are programs and opportunities available for you through the university, as well as federal funding, which we go over with you. So we spend time finding opportunities for you, and then also identifying some funding opportunities as well that you could also apply for. And then we also, you know, our goal here is to ensure that, yeah, you know, we don't want to just send you abroad. Our goal is to make sure that you have the right experience, you're fully prepared, and then when you're abroad, you feel supported. And then when you come back, you know, we want to hear about, you know, what kind of an experience did you really have? Was it a good one? Or maybe it wasn't. What kind of skills did you gain? We want to guide you through the whole process. And so that's really our goal with this program. So some of our objectives, I sort of went through this before. The program itself is built so you can do an individual internship, but you can also form relationships with other people on campus. So the nice thing is you start out as a cohort of students and you share experiences that you have previously or that you're looking to have, and that's a great opportunity for students to network and meet other people. So we start as a cohort and move throughout the academic year together, going through different workshops and skills testings and things like that. And then when the time comes for your actual experience, you're not abroad alone necessarily. You're abroad alone, but we're always here if you need us. I comment on all the blogs that you'll be keeping all throughout the summer, as all these people know. And then also, you are connected with other students. Maybe you're going to the same place as someone in your cohort, and this is a great opportunity to make that networking connection. And then we provide opportunities for you to reflect and evaluate the impact of what your experience actually was. So you may have figured this out. It is a 3-phase program, so it's sort of a year-long thing, and that sounds really daunting, but we'll break it down, and it's not as overwhelming as you think it is. So phase 1, that's this right now. So phase 1 is finding a program, finding funding, applying, and preparing culturally to go abroad. That's what happens throughout the academic year. Phase 2 is while you're abroad, we keep in touch like I mentioned, and we ask you to keep a blog. And then phase 3 is when you return, so we do have we have opportunities for students to do a re-entry workshop and to talk about things and to then put together an e-portfolio we call M-Portfolio. So some of the benefits of this program, all of you here, I assume, are interested in going abroad in general. And so I don't need to go into detail about the benefits of generally going abroad, although there are many benefits, the globalization of everything. And I do think it's important for all students to have that sort of thing, that sort of experience. And I think what's nice about this program is that it provides the support needed for students who might need some extra assistance getting there. You might be interested, but you have no idea how to do it, and so this really provides that support. And as you all know, some of the freshmen in the room might not realize just how enormous the University of Michigan is and how decentralized it is. And so it's so confusing. It's like there are 17 different offices that do the same thing. And that is not an exaggeration. There are actually 17 different offices that are study abroad offices. And so we often have students come to us and they're like, I just called 7 people and met with 2 people and now I don't know who to talk to about this. So we provide a lot of assistance navigating that culture and navigating that experience, and we will take the time to find the right venue for you. And another benefit of this program is that you learn how to market your experience for potential employers. We actually spend a lot of time doing that. I just talked with the Career Center this week sometime, and we're setting up a session for the MIISP program for her to come in and talk about what to look for in an internship, what to prepare for when you're thinking about what you want to put on your resume, if that's a concern for you. We take that very seriously. We know that these are often things that are expensive, and we want to make them things that provide a lot of value for you in your personal goals, but also your professional goals. And then beyond all of the benefits of generally going abroad, there are incentives for good attendance and participation. So, as I don't think I mentioned today, but I mentioned last night if you were there, there is no fee to apply for MIISP. There is no fee attached to that. So you can apply, you don't have to pay anything. You can come to the first couple of sessions and say, hey, not for me. or I got what I needed, don't need you anymore. You know, sometimes that happens. That's okay. But if you decide to say, hey, I'm getting a lot out of this, I think I'm interested in continuing it, we really recommend doing that, because if you do, MIISP will sponsor your international health insurance, will pay for your insurance to go abroad. Another thing, if you go to, I think that's 6 sessions that we ask you to go to, and those are sessions in a lot of ways. So one session is the International Opportunities Fair. If you attend that, that counts as a session. If you attend one of our writing workshops that's sort of optional, that counts as a session. If you come to a meeting with us and have a one-on-one advising, that's also part of it. So it's not like, it's not as, you know, as big of a time commitment as you might think. And then, if you do stick through the program and attend the 6 sessions, go and blog at least 3 times while you're abroad, and you come back and you participate in MIISP Portfolio, we do offer a stipend of $150 after you've given your presentation. So not only do you get to experience and practice how to speak intelligently about your experience and how to transfer experiences into skills, but you also get a little stipend. So that's a little benefit. Eligibility, we sort of touched on this. Students must be undergraduates, interested in an internship or service program. Service program, what does that mean? It means a volunteer opportunity, maybe, you know, we're flexible with this. If you find a program that you're a little bit unsure, does this fit into your category of internship and service program, just send us an email or meet with us, and we'll let you know. We are, our goal is to get as many students abroad as possible, so we'll try to be flexible and work with you. You have to be returning to campus fall 2016. I think that meets everyone here. You have to be excited to meet and support fellow students. That's a requirement. And you have to be able to fulfill the expectations of MIISP. So, you know, you have to be able to, you know, we'll talk a little bit about dates, when these sessions typically occur a little bit later on. So if you're not able to fulfill that, you know, that might be something that we need to talk about. All right, expectations of participants. So again, attend workshops throughout the academic year. Emma will touch a little bit on the dates for those. We do have those set, so I think you were given a handout earlier if you wanted to take a look at what the dates are actually set for, and if that might work for you. Attend individual advising sessions with the International Center staff. You know, we initially like to have one-on-one meeting with everyone at first to sort of get to know you, get to know what you want to do, and work on that. And then any sort of additional meetings that we might have would be sort of up to you. Put forth effort into finding placement and funding. So one thing to know is that, you know, while we will work really hard to present opportunities to you, you know, this is your responsibility to actually apply for that opportunity. You know, you're not guaranteed a placement through MIISP. You know, you have to be able to be willing to put the work in as well. We'll put the work in if you are too, so just keep that in mind. You have to be willing to maintain a blog while abroad. I think this is pretty standard for most internship opportunities run through the University of Michigan. You know, a blog is a great way for you to keep thinking about the things that you're going through every day. I wish that on my study abroad and other experiences abroad, I wish that I had kept a blog, because it'll be such a great tool for you to go back to, and it's sort of like a journal. You can remember things, because life moves on. You move on to the next opportunity. It's easy to forget. So we ask you to maintain a blog. We ask you to post 3 times. Not a huge burden. And then assist with the next group of MIISP students. Oops, that should be fall 2016. This is something that we hope that you'll be excited about doing. Most of the participants really are. And you have these amazing experiences, and you want to talk to everyone about it. And then maybe your friends get a little sick of you talking about your experiences all the time. So you're like, oh, okay, some actual people who want to hear my story. So a lot of times the MIISP students really are excited about coming back and talking. And then complete an MIISP portfolio. We touched on that. So I think this is something you guys have probably all heard. You know, when someone goes abroad to Barcelona, or no offense to Barcelona, or something like that, and you say, oh, okay, well, how's your experience? And then they say, it was awesome, period. And then that's it. And you do have to realize that people do have an attention span, right? They have about a 30-second window until they're ready to move on to the next topic. But we don't want that to happen to you. We want to be able to talk intelligently or speak intelligently about your experience to employers, to friends, to family members. And so it doesn't feel like, oh, it was just this summer, I guess I did the same stuff I would have done here, just abroad. So we don't want that to happen. And then the M portfolio, you know, practice articulating. It's so hard to do that. It's so hard to think about your experiences and not, I think it's sometimes people get nervous about feeling like they're bragging or feeling like, I don't know, I just lived here. You know, maybe you don't feel like you gained the skills that you really, really did. So we practice that. We practice, you know, your personal values and goals. We help you set goals before you go. And then we check in with you midsummer to make sure that have you been thinking about these goals? And then when you come back, you can sort of evaluate, what did I really achieve? Did I set out to do something that was totally unachievable? Or did I do something that was really fantastic? We sort of walk you through that. And then we learn how to create a web page. So that's what the M portfolio is. It exists on a website, and we teach you how to do that. If you're confused about it at all, we're here to help you through that process. And then produce an online portfolio to share your goals and experience with others. And that exists for you just to have forever.
All right. Well, I'm going to briefly introduce the process of applying to MIISP, which starts with finding it on mCompass. How many of you have interfaced with mCompass before, have heard of it, or know of it? Okay, cool. So quite a few of you. So for those of you who haven't seen mCompass before or aren't aware of what it is, essentially it's just a repository of all the, or most of, the U of M affiliated international programs. So it's a great resource to use not just for MIISP, but really when you're on the lookout for any sort of international opportunity here on campus. So what you do essentially is you go to mcompass.umich.edu and you hit right here, so find a program, and search MIISP. What'll pop up is essentially a description of the program and a link to apply. So that's that. Here are some upcoming important dates to keep in mind as you think about MIISP and write it into your calendars. September 27th is the application deadline. The application really isn't that strenuous. We're just looking for a brief description of your goals, what you're looking to get in from your summer experience, or any sort of a broad experience that you might be looking to embark upon. So make sure you do that. September 27th.
One thing, you don't have to know. You don't have to know what internship you want or where you want to go when you apply. It can be a very general, I'm interested in this, don't know how to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So it can be like completely unsure. So if you have a specific country, it's cool to write that in. If you don't, that's also completely fine. Then October 2nd, we will notify you of your application via email, I believe. And then October 7th will be the first MIISP session. All MIISP sessions are from 6:30 to 8 on Wednesdays. There may be a few exceptions here or there. When you come to see the M portfolios of the previous applicants, we have a session for that, and that's on with a different timetable, I believe. But the majority of sessions will occur from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. And the first one is essentially kind of like an exploratory session on how to find an international internship or service program, how to begin that process. Then October 22nd is the International Opportunities Fair, which we really recommend you attend. It is in the Union, I believe, and it's really just a huge conglomeration of all the opportunities that you can possibly go on or be interested in that are involved or that have something to do with U of M. So there are a lot of organizations, some of them you affiliated, some of them not, and it's really just, it's a fun time. So go to that. And then November 4th, there is another MIISP session, session 2. So as you can see, it's not going to be every week. It's really, the time commitment isn't that intense, right? So it's easy to fit into your schedule. There's the second session, which is your global experience in your career, which is a great session because it teaches you kind of how Audrey was talking about, how to mesh together what you experience abroad and your academic and career goals. So as I said, sessions will continue to take place after that second session throughout the entirety of the rest of the academic year. And they'll take place on Wednesday evenings. Your handout has a schedule on the back. I believe it is a schedule on the front and the back. And so there's a variety of topics that we cover throughout the year, and all of them have something to do with your international abroad experience, right? So there's a peer review session for funding applications, which is a great one. A lot of funding applications will require a statement of purpose or something of that nature. And if you've never written one before, this is a great one to attend. We're also bringing in, I believe, guest speakers this year. So from the Career Center. Last year there was a workshop with Sweetland, I believe. So we continue to email you throughout the year about these other opportunities that you can take advantage of that will help you flesh out your application. Then there's also some sessions built on sort of establishing cultural sensitivity, right? So making yourself at home in a new country, how to enter that space in a way that's safe and secure, and then what kind of challenges you might encounter in the national workplace, right? Especially if you've never been abroad before or never interned abroad. Last year I went on MIISP and this was my first time. So the information presented there was extremely useful and I was able to employ it in a practical way abroad. And then many more, so this is just kind of a brief description of what we might cover, we would cover more.
So we're sure you guys have a lot of questions as of now, but we're going to go over a few that are frequent and see, hopefully we will answer some of your questions. The first one is, am I guaranteed an internship or a service placement? It's not a guarantee, but we want to help you. We're not a placement program, but we do want to help you. We want to connect you with different opportunities and help you find the one that works for you. And if you know where you want to go, that's great. We can help you that way. But if you don't know where you want to go or what you want to do, we have a whole library of resources. We have people that know a lot about, going abroad with different programs. And there's a lot of UN programs also, so that besides external programs. And we will work with you in achieving your goals, whatever those may be. So if you're not sure of those, don't be afraid. We can help you work out what your goals are and see where that leads us. As was mentioned, there's no cost to participate, but when you go abroad and you go through a program, you usually have to pay, for the flight there, pay for transportation, lodging, food, souvenirs, whatever that may be. So just be aware of that, and there will be funding. There will be a workshop on funding, and we have a lot of knowledge about funding and getting you there affordably, so don't be worried about that. Don't let money hinder you. And there's also a fee for the programs, the volunteer programs specifically. And then self-arranged internships, they will have expenses similar to those. And then is attendance required of the workshop? Definitely, hopefully you can attend 6 so you get that insurance stipend because that will help you if we do want you to have insurance when you go abroad if anything happens, or if we need to get you out of an area because of something, that will help you. And so, so we want you to make sure you're a good fit. Look at all the dates and make sure that you can attend them, especially, the initial one, and make meetings with us to go over different things. So how many students are chosen each year? We don't have a set number, but this program is for somebody that you just don't know where to get started. If you already have a plan in mind, come talk to us about it, see if we think that this would be a good fit for you too, but it's really for someone that doesn't know what they're doing and just needs assistance and help, and also wants to work with other students. So maybe you have been, but you didn't go to workshops on funding or safety or anything, and you just want to learn more.
What's your contact?
You can reach us right here, and that goes to both Bill and myself, and so you can get in touch with us that way or give us a call. We often post things on our social media accounts as well. So I think we are going to now open it up for our peer advisors and MIISP alums to talk about their experiences.
All right. Well, I'll get started. Last year, essentially, what I was looking for was sort of like a sense of security or support, right? Because I knew that I wanted to go abroad, that I wanted to do something, but it was all kind of like in this vague realm of possibility, right? Like, how do I even begin searching? How do I know what I'm looking for, if I'll be a good fit? How do I get funding? Financial considerations were a big issue for me, so I knew that I had to look into that. How does one even go abroad logistically, right? And putting those pieces together while at the same time being a full-time student, working, having extracurriculars, deadlines, other things that are constantly on your mind was quite challenging, right? It can be hard to mesh everything together, even if you have like a really great calendar and schedule and planner and you have everything sort of mapped out, it can be hard to find the time, right? So MIISP really like came at that crucial moment and helped me find that sense of support, right? So it's a whole framework that exists with people who know about the opportunities that exist, both in terms of the programs and the funding, and that was incredibly helpful for someone who was coming in as a layperson, essentially, right? As somebody who had no knowledge of this information. The one-on-one advising was also probably the reason that I was able to go on an internship that summer, because I was suddenly exposed to this whole slew of information that I wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise, right? And as Audrey was talking about, because these programs, or because the way Michigan kind of operates in this totally decentralized manner, there's like the CGIS office, there's this other stuff here, blah, blah, so you can go a million different places and come out and be like, I still have no idea what's happening, right? So that's essentially what MIISP did for me, right? Build a comprehensive picture of everything that exists and help me fit into that. I kind of came in knowing that I wanted to do something in Japan. I am a student of the Japanese department, so I've been taking the language for a few years. So I knew that, but I didn't know anything further than that, right? Are there internships? Is there study abroad? Those are the questions that I was posing to the staff. And immediately they helped me narrow it down. Here are the internships that are available. Here's the study abroad that U of M does. Here's study abroad that other colleges do. Here's research programs that we can help you with that are affiliated or related to your major. So that was incredibly helpful. And then through the Funding Opportunities Workshop and the information supplied to me via MIISP as well, I was able to secure funding through the LSNA International Internships Program. So that was amazing. Eventually, what ended up happening was that my whole experience was fully funded, which was an incredible boon for a student in my situation, because I was really kind of trying to figure out how I would be able to manage the expenses of an international program, right? Because they can the expenses could pile up pretty quickly, right? So that was amazing, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without MIISP. And then just kind of briefly touching on what I ended up doing, I got an internship in Tokyo, Japan. So I was working for 2.5 months as a research assistant in a real estate company. So it was a real estate company that worked worldwide, but they had a headquarters in Tokyo. And they published this kind of newspaper that went out worldwide as well to all their shareholders and to basically everybody in the real estate community, which is kind of like a strange thing now that we've been affiliated with, but everybody there. And I researched like a dozen articles on the Japanese economy, the labor force, the gender gap, the 2020 Olympics. So all these like really interesting topics related to Japan. So I was able to both practice my Japanese and acquire all this in-depth knowledge about this country itself while living there at the same time, right? So then all of that, while I was doing that as well, I also kept up a blog, and I decided to vlog during my stay, which was quite an experience. I can't like rewatch those now because it's too embarrassing. But yeah, so I did that, and that was really fun as well, because like in the moment you're just like talking, and it's fun to have like somebody to talk back to, right? Audrey would always reply to my posts, so especially because if you go quite far away, you're often separated because of the time difference from your family, right? So it can be really hard to call and be like, oh wait, it's actually 3 a.m. I have nobody to talk to about what I did today, right? So the blog was a really amazing outlet for that. Yeah, and then I came back, and now I am here. But yeah, that was essentially my process encapsulated. Lenore, if you want to introduce yours.
Sure. Cool. So me and June talked to her about like not saying everything because we wouldn't have anything to say, but that was perfect, because that's the exact reason I joined as well. Like I didn't know where I wanted to go. I kind of knew where I wanted to go because I took Spanish here, but I didn't really know how that was possible. So 4 years ago I was in your shoes, which is really weird. It makes me feel really old. And I went to the information session, and I was like, this sounds great. These are people that want to help me go abroad, and I don't know where to get started. So I sent in my application, everything worked out, and I joined, and all the workshops are super informative. I think I went to all of them because every topic was so different, and you need to know the information. Even if you've been abroad, going by yourself, if you haven't been by yourself, is a totally different experience than going with like family or friends, and you're kind of creating this experience for yourself as well. So I also my parents were always strict growing up, and I told them that I wanted to go abroad. And Bill probably remembers I had conversations with him all the time about like telling them that I wanted to go, and the fact that I had gone to all of these workshops about safety, and I told my mom about money belts and like, you know, what I could do on the subway to be safe. And that made my parents feel better about it too. So that was a big thing for me, getting them on board, because I wanted their support. So I ended up going to Barcelona, and I taught English. So while I was there, I was working at a YMCA and living in the city. So I would get on the subway every morning, go to work, and I would have classes with students. Usually they were 8 to 12 years old, and it was awesome. Like, they really wanted to learn, you know, like I was really helping them. So mine was, I wasn't paid, it was more volunteer, but I did get the LSNA internship scholarship as well. And along with that, have you guys heard of Rotary? Anyone have? Okay, so I went to different Rotary, and if you don't know, it's like a service program for older people that are older, but I mean, I think they take young too, and there's Interact that's more like for young people. But so I was a part of Interact when I was in high school, and one of the Rotary members, he would come to our Interact meetings, so I had that connection. And I talked to him, and he said to go to Rotary clubs around Michigan, it didn't drive like more than an hour away, and give my presentation about what I would be doing and see what happens. And they funded me. I would like I had this poster of the money I had and the money I needed, and every time I would like color in more because they had given me a check, like literally before I left. Sometimes they would mail it to me. So I mean, that's definitely like, I had to go out there, I had to make the time, like I had time in my schedule to do that instead of just, you know, typing an essay and sending it and hoping. But that's a great way. There are so many ways that you don't even know. Like I didn't even think about that until I feel like somebody in the International Center told me to do that. And then I had the connection, but even if you don't, like Rotary is there to help. So mine was fully funded as well. I went to France and Italy like for personal travel while I was there. I had to pay for that, but once you're in Europe, flights to other places in Europe are pretty cheap. So what else? I also blogged while I was there, and as was mentioned, I love reading it. I mean, I got back 3 summers ago, so I love going back and reading about my experiences because you don't remember like the day-to-day exactly. Like I read blogs about exactly what I saw on the subway that morning, or like what I saw on my walk there, and that's really neat. So I think that's something that you will appreciate. And I highly suggest joining the program if you want to go abroad, you just don't know where to get started. So yeah, and if you have more questions, we'll take questions soon. But
Hey, can I just do it here? Or do you need me to? Alright, hi. Again, my name is June. I'm a junior in sport management, so you can kind of tell I really like sports. Maybe way too much. I sprained my ankle a while back. The way I heard about MIISP is kind of different. I went to my school of kinesiology. We had like this Go Global office. We have our own office, like Audrey mentioned. It's one of the 17. And there was a person there, and she directed me directly to MIISP. I didn't know anything, but I applied, and then I went to the first session, and I really thought that was cool. Throughout the year, it was even better because I really got personalized advising, which I think I wouldn't have gotten because kinesiology has so many people trying to go abroad, not many people helping them go abroad, and it was kind of hard for me. I talked to Audrey and Bill like a bunch of times throughout the semester. I talked to peer advisors a lot, and when you guys apply for these kind of things, going abroad and the funding, there's a lot of stuff that, like even right now, if you're really confident, you know everything. No, you don't know everything. There's a lot more stuff you guys need to think about, and they really made me think about that. And like for example, if you want to apply for funding, you need a funding proposal, and the proposal needs to be like exact, like $1,273, like that kind of stuff, and that really helped me get funding. So this past summer I went to China. I went to China for 2 months, and I did an internship with a sports company. They did not speak English. I don't speak Chinese. So it was pretty cool. I got funding for that with School of Kinesiology. Gilman. I don't know if you guys ever heard. There's a Gilman scholarship, one of the many opportunities, and I also got the Center for Chinese Studies scholarship. I just asked them, they gave it to me. So, yeah. So MIISP was really really important for me. It's cold. I'm sorry. I'm pretty cold. So, any other questions? I'm gonna sit down. Yeah.
Well, because you didn't know the language, how was that experience, and like, did it turn out okay, and do you have help, or like what?
So, I had to use a lot of hand gestures, a lot of like. So they knew a little English, like June. How you today? And then I'm like, well, what can you say? Like, I learned a little Chinese. I tried. It's hard. So I'm like, I was like, I had to learn this one phrase, 我是韩国人, because everyone thinks I'm Chinese in China. And they talk to me in Chinese, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know. So it was a good experience though, because I think in my field especially, I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of international stuff. I'm also very interested in international stuff, which is one of the reasons why I'm here. So it was a good experience, and yeah.
So how were you placed into that program? If you
Good question. So through MIISP, I found another program, because we don't directly place you into these programs, but there's this thing called an LSNA International Internship Program. They have, a bunch of programs through LSNA, and they placed me in. I requested to be placed in China. That's how it worked out.
Is there any other criteria that they used?
Sorry?
Was there any other like defining criteria
Defining criteria for.
placing you in that program? Because
So the
I'm kind of
LSNA
confused
International
why-
Internship is on mCompass,
yeah.
and it's a separate application. So just like MIISP, you have to apply for that. Once you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. Once you apply, then in there you can choose your country of preference, and you just go from there.
So I'm kind of confused why they placed you into a company that speaks only Chinese and you don't know the language.
Well, that's. I was in a special case because you're gonna notice with a lot of these programs, it's complicated every single case, but LSNA placed me separately into a third-party placement company who placed me with the Chinese company. So it wasn't LSNA's fault, but so what happened to me was like a special case. They did speak English, just not on the level to do work. So, and it was good. It was good, I'm not really complaining about it. I really like the experience. They love me, so.
June, could you talk about the placement process through the CRCC Asia, that organization?
Yeah, so the third-party placement organization I was talking about is called CRCC Asia. I don't know what CRCC stands for. It's two companies combined anyway. They have a bunch of placements throughout Asia, throughout China in particular. I think and what happens is, if you go through LSNA International Internship Program has a connection with CRCC Asia. So if you want to go to China, you have to go through them. Then you can go to Hong Kong, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Beijing. I believe those are the 4 for CRCC Asia. But because we're University of Michigan students, you get one choice, and that is Shenzhen, and that's where I went. The process starts really early. I started probably December with CRCC, maybe January, which I think is, I guess that's not early. That's like a normal process, a normal timeline. But
I agree.
yeah. Is there any
Yeah,
specifics?
well, we can open it up to everyone. If you have questions for Leonora, Emma.
You look confused. Did I answer your question? I think you.
I think
I'm
he wants to
confused,
know.
so.
He wants a reason why you were placed in an organization that doesn't.
Well, I specifically
English,
wanted a
but-
sports company, right? And I guess that's all they got.
I'm just a little bit confused on why they matched you as a company who doesn't speak. I don't know. The fact that there is a language barrier, that seems.
I wouldn't call it a language barrier, see, because like I keep saying, they could speak English.
Another thing, when I was in Barcelona they speak Catalan, which is a form of Spanish. So I knew Spanish. I didn't know Catalan, but the language barrier just opens up your eyes. I mean, I had to like really think, okay, this is what they said, and I mean, obviously I knew Spanish that was related, but it's also a learning experience, like being in those shoes and not knowing, you know.
Yeah, if you guys decide to apply to the program and you get in, we're gonna talk about challenges in the international workforce and stuff. This is one of those challenges, and I really think it was a good experience for me, and really eye-opening, and it was good for me. So, yeah. Anything else? We can talk after. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the difference between the blog and the
And portfolio.
and portfolio are different, right? And portfolio comes after.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the blog could be Blogger, Tumblr, whatever kind of blog interface you prefer to use. It can be, and it's really just for you. It's a personal thing. You know, we help if you're struggling to come up with topics. We do give you ideas for topics, but yeah. So that's just to record your daily experience while you're abroad, and then when you come back, the portfolio experience is really to well, before you go, you know, we ask you to come up with some goals and things like that, and so that gets put into your portfolio before you go. And then when you come back, you sort of take a look at it again, and then go through, you know, it's a process of we have someone who right now who's pretty skilled in facilitating the portfolio experience. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's like generative listening exercises. You know, we do sort of interviewing, like how did you know, we practice the interview process through these different skills. So it's sort of hard to explain, but it really is a separate thing. It's full circle, so it's blogging in the summer and then coming back in the fall, and we sort of rehash your experiences and put it into a format that's presentable, and also bullet points. You know, we help suss things out that you did experience and try to put it in a succinct way. Yeah.
How do we manage appointments for one-on-one advisory programs?
Yeah, so we have a Google Calendar like appointment system that we're able to, you just sort of select a time slot that works for you and sign up for an appointment. So, or you know, you can email me and I can do that for you
And
too.
do we do that actually through the campus?
Nope, that would come later. So if you do apply for the program and come to the first session, I would send an email out with some resources and information, and then include a link to schedule an appointment.
What's the average duration and cost?
So I think it probably ranges from 4 to 10 weeks. 10 weeks would be really a long program. 8 weeks is, I think, pretty average. 6 to 8 weeks is probably pretty average. What was the other part of your question?
Like the cost.
Oh, the cost. Oh, yeah, that varies too. You know, all of these guys got theirs fully funded, but do you remember what it would have been?
$7,000.
It can be upwards to $10,000. It can be, if you do like a volunteer service programs are often much more affordable. So you could find maybe, I would say 3,000 to 10,000 is probably.
CRCCA just has a program fee, and my accommodation was like a 5-star hotel or something like that. It was really nice. So it's not normal. I didn't even expect the accommodation to be that nice. Just the program fee itself was like $4,000 plus. So depending on the program, it could range big
Before
time.
they get like that much funding, like since both of them.
Yeah. No, they worked really hard to make sure that would happen.
Saw her, talk to her,
Yeah,
talk
right.
to him,
Yeah.
talk to us. We
Right.
could help. We
I
could
mean, the
try.
funding really is available. You just
Yeah.
have to like start early. Especially if you don't go. So I didn't go through a third-party provider. Mine was set up through an alumnus, right? So a U of M alumnus who was working in this office in Tokyo, right? So in my particular circumstance, I didn't have a program fee, so it was more feasible financially, right? So it was really just like the cost of the plane ticket, lodging, food, and then miscellaneous expenses. But even that is still quite a lot. Just the plane ticket is like $1,000 to get from here to Tokyo. But all of that was fully funded. Some of the really great things about the funding opportunities is that if you provide like a breakdown, like a really clear budget of what's happening and why you need the funding, it's more than likely that you'll get a significant, if not all.
So I have two questions. One is, like, although, it's definitely possible to get it fully funded, like, what is reasonable to expect that, like, you might have to pay on your own? And my second question is, if you start early, so you're not exactly sure, like, what program you're in, can you apply for, like, just general, because you might not have, like, a breakdown yet of what the expenses are going to be?
Right.
Okay, so I'll fill the second question first. I didn't know where I was going or anything. Like, I knew I was going to China. I knew I was going to Asia in general. But I didn't really know where I was going. I didn't even know what company I was going to until April. And they didn't contact me. I tried to contact them. They didn't contact me until the week before I left the United States. That being said, in all of my funding proposals and all of my applications, my essays, I made it sound like I'm really confident in what I'm gonna do, how it's gonna affect me. That's a big part. You have to explain, you're giving me money, why? Because it's gonna help me do this in my career, think long term. So you don't have to know where you're going, like specifically, and what you're gonna do specifically, but as long as you're confident and you have a well thought out statement of something in general, just sound confident that you'll be okay.
And then that's another good thing to point out is a lot of the funding applications might start or be open early next winter semester, but the funding disbursements might not happen until April or May.
Yeah,
so
I didn't get money till
there
like-
might be some costs up front. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. This is a longer conversation, but then yeah, what to expect? I mean, we can't really say these three. The fact that they're all three fully funded is pretty actually spectacular. I think if you're willing to put the time in, I think you can. I don't want to make false promises. We can't obviously guarantee anything because we're not giving the scholarships. But yeah, I think you can hope for at least one scholarship or something like that. If you put the time in and they all applied in for multiple scholarships. So
yeah, don't just apply for one.
Yeah.
You are not gonna. There's no guarantee that you're gonna get that one for number one. Number two, that one might not even cover your full cost. Like I applied for like 6 or 7. I only got like 3 or 4. I don't know.
That was my exact situation.
Something like that. So you
really
guys have to apply for a lot and start early. I started like now, last year, like you guys. So you guys are good. But that's how it works.
I could just add, the program has been running for 7 years, and in that time, we've had one participant who applied for funding and did not get it. That's because he applied for a nationally competitive scholarship program, and that's the only thing he wanted to apply for. But every other one of our participants who has applied for scholarships has been funded. Still, it's not guaranteed, but that's a pretty good record. The key is to apply for multiple scholarships, and that's what we hope to figure out how to do.
Yeah, really good point. I saw a hand up.
So, your first question is, if you're not sure that you want to universities, is it which can be applying for the same time as
I'm not sure I heard.
So, if I'm looking at other programs for studying abroad,
Oh, okay.
is it a good idea to just start applying for those while doing this?
So I'm not sure I fully understand. I think, I think you will definitely apply. Everyone will apply to different programs at different times throughout there's not just one time where everyone applies to programs. If you find that you found a great program and their deadline is November, then yes, you would start applying for that earlier. Yeah, so absolutely. I think there would be different times that everyone is applying to different programs or opportunities. Does that?
Yeah, sorry.
I think
No,
I think
that's
what
okay.
she's trying to ask is do you want to do this program MIISP and like other programs at the same time? Is that what you're asking?
Oh, I'm just not sure which.
Like, can she be a part of MIISP
Yeah.
but study abroad through another?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So like I did this program MIISP, but I was also in LSNA International Internships Program, which is a totally separate program, and I was also blah blah blah. It goes on and on. But yes, you can do as many as you want as long as don't spread it out too much. You have to commit to some of the stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great question.
Is this scholarship likely to be needs-based?
A lot of scholarships are need-based. Yes, not all of them though. And need-based is, some of them will say demonstrate financial need. And what that means is loose, right? So if you can demonstrate some sort of financial need, then that could apply for you. But there are some merit-based scholarships as well.
So if you're taking a language course,
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, because some courses is an introduction to internship as like a course credit. So if you took Spanish and then can you actually get the academic credit for internship?
That would be a conversation with your academic advisor. Yeah, you could. It would. Yeah, we wouldn't facilitate the transfer credit, but you could talk to your academic advisor about
So
that.
when I went, I was done with my 2 years of Spanish here. I wasn't minoring or majoring in Spanish, so I didn't even pursue. Yeah. But yeah, talk to them. They'll know.
In the back.
And if this true is not here in China, not in other.
Yeah.
You could, but in the end, the placement again, we don't guarantee the placement.
Right. Yeah, that's a big caveat.
So we don't give you the placement, like we don't place you on the job, like what job you want. We could help you go in that direction.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees on our end, but speaking from personal experience, there's so many opportunities in China. If you want to go to China, you're probably gonna go to China.
Yeah. There are a lot.
When measuring statistics, is there any jobs related to that, like investment and or finance, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely lots of business and finance related positions that are, that placement companies specialize in. So we can definitely talk about that further and try to find some other programs. But that is something that a lot of people want to do. They want to intern in the business.
We could talk after.
field.
I have a lot of resources on that.
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the internships aren't programs like through you guys, like you guys just help us connect to a second party who
Yeah.
is in charge of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how many freshmen get internships?
A lot. I mean, we always have not like a lot. I mean, we always have a few in freshmen every year, I would say, and the ones who wanted internships have been able to find them.
I don't think freshmen should be discouraged from
No.
trying to look for internships.
I mean, there are certainly some programs that aren't available to freshmen, but there are those that are available for freshmen. So shouldn't be a huge concern. Anything else?
I think the reason was some jobs require you need to have
Yeah.
certain experience,
Yeah.
like take certain courses that give you this kind of experience, or
Yeah.
that's the reason why. But there are a bunch of experience, opportunities for freshmen as well.
Right. Good point.
Is there like maybe like website like MIISP where you can kind of start looking at your own and see if there are different programs? It's a good place to start.
Compass would be a great place to start. And then if you want to meet with us, we can send you some information.
So do you start looking like for funding before you like are positive that you're gonna have an internship? And if so, like what happens if you get funding and then you don't end up getting an internship?
It's a great question. Well, you had, so June, you applied, you had gotten into the LSA International Internship Program, and you were just waiting to be placed by our CRCC Asia. So you knew you were going to have an internship when you were applying for the funding. What would have happened?
I would have just declined it. You can always decline funding. There's usually a timeline to decline funding, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month after you receive that acceptance offer that you got the funding. But even if that deadline passes, you know, you can always send them an email. Like, these are real people.
Yeah.
So you can be like, hey, this happened and I won't be able to go abroad anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the offer, but I'll have to turn it down.
Yeah, that happens, I'm sure, every year for these people. And also, so for some of these scholarships that you did get, a lot of them were through the University of Michigan, and to get those, you have to be on a University of Michigan program. So the fact that, I mean, it does get a little bit complicated, but for federally funded programs like the Gilman Scholarship, there are requirements. You have to sort of come back and be an ambassador for Gilman, or you have to do some sort of thing. So there are ways that they would know if you just took the money, you know. So I think like the federally funded ones in particular, I think they would definitely know. So yeah, I mean, if you don't get this internship, then you would just decline it.
So you just
Sure.
email them.
Yep. Yep. Any other questions? Well, we're going to hang out here for a little bit, cleaning up if you want to talk with us one-on-one. But deadline is September 27th. And yeah, we hope to see you all at our first MIISP meeting. Thanks for coming.